All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here again, talking about real music and some politics and some late night TV show idolatry. I don't know what you want to call it. But doing what I'm doing as usual in real time for a few real people just like you and just like me. All right, so before I talk about Bonnie Raitt and Stephen Colbert, I want you to check this album out and pretty much anything by this group called King King. This is their album Standing in the Shadows. This came out quite a while ago. All right. And the CD is pretty well worn, as you can tell by the looks of things here. But this is one terrific band from the UK. For you Eric Clapton fans, they do a great version of the Eric Clapton song Old Love. So you got to go find that and listen to it because it's really good. And they're playing music the way it used to be played. All right. So if you haven't heard of King King, check them out. They've got a new album coming out, I believe, in September. And I will probably get that album when it comes out, and I will be talking about it. But yeah, there's classic rock. I always say there is new classic rock being created, and people are like, well, if it's classic rock, then it's old. And I'm like, doesn't have to be old, all right? It just has to fit, has to have a sound, and that band has that sound. And Bonnie Raitt has that sound too. I'm a big Bonnie Raitt fan. So reading this stuff about Bonnie Raitt always kind of, I don't know, just makes me feel sad, right? So she's out there showing support for Stephen Colbert. And of course, the rock media wants to talk about this. Now, if Bonnie Raitt were showing support for Greg Gutfeld, which why would she? But Gutfeld isn't being canceled. And so for those people that would show support, I guarantee they wouldn't be, on classic rock websites. They wouldn't put the story out there. So, of course, Colbert got canceled, and this is like a big deal for the media that one of their own got canceled. So they have to keep talking about this like it's the biggest injustice. And she writes, in the light of the shocking cancellation of the Colbert Late Show. Now let's analyze that for a moment. Was it really shocking? The show is losing $40 million a year. So why is that shocking, Bonnie? She goes on to say, we want to send along our support and appreciation for what he means to us. Now, who's us? Is it just Bonnie Raitt and her family? Is it Bonnie Raitt and all her fans? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of her fans aren't all that concerned about this guy being canceled. She goes on to say, and the crucial right to have free expression in a healthy democracy. Now, I hear this thing about democracy over and over again. We live in a constitutional republic, so it's kind of weird how we talk a lot about democracy, like mob rules, like majority rules. That's not how the country was designed. It may be functioning like some kind of a hybrid democracy now, but that wasn't the intent. The original intent was quite different from what we're seeing these days. So free expression, what about free enterprise? So are we supposed to subsidize stuff that nobody wants to watch? Are the advertisers supposed to just throw their money away and say, you know what, we're going to keep advertising on this show that nobody is watching? I would pull my ad dollars away from that show. Now, she's going to claim he's number one in the late night market. And, of course, they're not going to talk about Greg Gutfeld. They're going to base that on network TV. He doesn't have very good competition between Kimmel and the other guy, right? There's just not a lot. Jimmy Fallon is the other guy. What kind of competition? So they've split a pie 3 ways, and before they split that pie, they took away half of the country. So these numbers have to be pathetic because this is all political now. In the old days, when you had Johnny Carson on, Carson and Jay Leno, they would appeal to everybody. Everybody could watch, and everybody was equally offended, and that's the way it ought to be. She goes on, though. We know his brilliant, beloved, and important place in our culture will continue to evolve in some new, exciting way. I don't know. Maybe. I'm thinking he'll have a podcast or something, and who knows? Maybe some other network will pick him up. But the first thing I would tell him if he were to do a show, don't be political. Try to be your old Comedy Central self. Not that I understood that all that well when he was doing that stuff, but it was far more interesting than the nonstop dislike of 50% of the country, if not more than 50%. She goes on here to say he's unstoppable. He's number one in the late night market for a reason. Unstoppable. Okay. Well, he is stoppable because Skydance Media, who are set to purchase CBS from Paramount, they're going to want somebody who's actually going to get them ratings. That's my guess. But they're retiring the whole franchise. It's that bad. And part of the reason why it's that bad is because a lot of people aren't watching this format anymore. There are lots of new choices, and so there's just not that much interest in this type of late night format. And like I said, you've divided a pie three ways between those three guys, and then you've eliminated 50% of the people who aren't going to watch because you're just going to, just be mean to the political views, or you're going to disparage the people that have these certain viewpoints. And it's not just about Trump. It's about values, certain values that people have. And these guys have been doing this for at least the last 20 years. Since Letterman decided to get political, early on, Letterman wasn't all that political, but, I think he set a precedent, and then people like Colbert and Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel, who might be the worst, actually. Didn't he cry on TV when he found out that Donald Trump won? I'm pretty sure he either cried about that or about something else. Rather than saying, look, let's bring everybody together. Let's do comedy. Let's not do politics. And if we're going to do politics, let's offend everyone. Let's make fun of Ted Cruz. That's not really that hard to do, right? Let's make fun of everybody across the board. And I'm sure your ratings would go up because you'd be saying, well, he definitely made fun of the person I like, but then the night before he took on someone I dislike. That's the way it should be. But long gone are those days of Johnny Carson and Jay Leno. Jay Leno recently came out and said, I used to make fun of everybody. These guys seem to only make fun of one side, one group of people. And he said that's probably a big mistake. And I think he knows what he's talking about. So anyway, sometimes I know what I'm talking about. A lot of times I don't. I'll tell you what, though. I think I know what I'm talking about with this band here. King, they're from the UK. Standing in the Shadows. This is an album from 2013. They've got more recent stuff, and I think I'm going to be buying their entire catalog at some point. I like them that much. This is just great bluesy classic rock stuff. And, if you've not heard of this band, and a lot of people here in the States have not heard of this band, a great opportunity awaits you. You could check this out, and I think you're going to get blown away. I'm trying to think. There's a song on this one called A Long History of Love. You see it there. It's track number 3. I had that on repeat play for about a month or so. That's what I do. I tend to binge listen to one song over and over again. And it's just amazing. And if you're an Eric Clapton fan, they do this great version of the song that I think it was written by Eric and Robert Cray. It's called Old Love, and it goes back to the Journeyman album, which is one of my favorite Eric Clapton albums. If not my favorite, probably is my favorite. So, yeah, that's when I was listening to Clapton in the 80s, and I love that stuff. I love the high production value, the great guitar solos, and yeah. And so this band here has got a little bit of that mojo. So check it out. Won't cost you anything. You can probably stream that over on Spotify. But I purchased a copy because I believe in this stuff, and sometimes I like to showcase the CD so people can at least see what it looks like. All right, folks. That's it for this exciting edition. Bonnie Raitt. I love Bonnie Raitt. It's too bad. Great slide player. Great singing. I mean, you don't get much better than Bonnie Raitt singing a John Hyatt song. All right. Life doesn't get much better than that, but politics, it just ruins everything.